For centuries, the Golden Dawn and other Hermetic orders have guarded a specific secret. They called it the vibratory formula. They claimed that by intoning specific god names at precise pitches, they could banish demons, invoke archangels, and alter consciousness. Skeptics called it theater. Materialists called it delusion. But today, modern neuroscience is finally caught up to high magic. They were hacking their own biology, and we know that now. What if I told you that the astral plane is biologically accessible but locked behind a gatekeeper in your brain, and that the key to that gate isn't faith, it is frequency? Welcome to MageSpace. Today we are dismantling the barrier between ritual and biology. We are exploring the neuroscience of the vibratory formula. To understand how a ritual like the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram actually works on a physiological level, we must look at the body's superhighway, the vagus nerve. In the medical world, stimulating this nerve is the frontier of treating epilepsy and depression. It is known as vagus nerve stimulation, or VNS. Usually this requires an implant. However, recent studies on non-invasive vagus nerve stimulation, or NVNS, prove you can activate this system from the outside. The vibratory formula of the Golden Dawn is, in essence, an ancient manual for NVNS. When an adept vibrates a name like Adonai, they are turning their own vocal cords and chest cavity into a tuning fork. This physical vibration travels through the tissues, hits the vagus nerve, and sends a shockwave directly into the brainstem. The goal? To silence the guardian of the threshold. In neurobiology, we call this guardian the limbic system, specifically the amygdala. Over the next 10 minutes, we will examine the fMRI evidence proving that sound and breath can deactivate the brain's fear centers, allowing the prefrontal cortex to perceive what wizards call the higher genius. Let's examine the obstacle. Why can't most people perceive the astral or enter deep meditative states instantly? The answer lies in the amygdala. This almond-shaped cluster of nuclei is your survival processor. It is the fight or flight command center. In our modern world, it is chronically overactive, constantly scanning for threats, social anxiety, and stress. When the Golden Dawn texts speak of banishing, they are speaking metaphorically of clearing a space of impure spirits. Biologically, this is the act of down-regulating the amygdala. As long as this part of your brain is screaming danger or worry, your higher cognitive functions, the gateway to magical consciousness, are throttled. You cannot perform effective magic while in a state of sympathetic nervous system arousal. This is where the vibratory formula enters. The ritual instruction is often to vibrate the name in the chest, ensuring the sound resonates physically within the torso and skull. This is a hack for the autonomic nervous system. The vibration acts as a physical interrupt signal. We have the imaging data to prove it. In 2011, a landmark study by Kalyani et al., published in the International Journal of Yoga, placed subjects inside an fMRI machine. They compared the brain states of people chanting Om, a sound remarkably similar in resonance to the Hebrew names used in the LBRP, versus a control group making a simple S sound. The results were staggering. The sound did nothing, but the resonant chanting produced significant deactivation of the amygdala. But it didn't stop there. It also deactivated the anterior cingulate cortex, the hippocampus, the insula, and the orbitofrontal cortex. In magical terms, the guardian was put to sleep. The chatter of the ego, the fear response, the constant monitoring of the environment, it all went dark. So how does a sound made in the throat turn off a fear switch deep in the brain? The bridge is the vagus nerve. This nerve is the primary driver of the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode. Research by Yakunina et al., published in 2017, mapped this territory with precision. They utilized fMRI to study transcutaneous vagus nerve stimulation. They found that specific areas of the outer ear, particularly the cymboconcha, are innervated by the auricular branch of the vagus nerve. When you perform the vibratory formula correctly, you are creating a resonant chamber in your skull. This vibration physically stimulates the auricular branch of the vagus nerve and the tissues surrounding the carotid arteries. Yakunina's team found that stimulating these pathways robustly activates key vagal nuclei in the brainstem, specifically the nucleus tractus solitarius and the locus ceruleus. While the locus ceruleus is often associated with alertness, in this context it modulates attention, allowing for the intense, singular focus required in ritual work. Simultaneously, this stimulation was shown to deactivate the limbic areas we discussed earlier, including the parahippocampal gyrus. This is the biomagic mechanism. High-intensity vibration creates a physical feedback loop. You vibrate the name. The vibration shakes the vagal nerve endings. The nerve signals the brainstem. The brainstem floods the system with acetylcholine and GABA, chemically forcing the amygdala to stand down. When the Golden Dawn instructs the student to inflame thyself with prayer, they are paradoxically asking for a physiological state of extreme calm and high alertness. This is the flow state. This is the silence of the amygdala combined with the activation of the prefrontal cortex. We have the sound. Now we need the rhythm. The vibratory formula is rarely performed as a quick shout. It is a long, drawn-out exhalation. This brings us to the second pillar of our biological hack, resonance frequency breathing. A randomized controlled trial summarized in 2022 confirmed that breathing at a rate of approximately 6 breaths per minute, or 0.1 hertz, maximizes heart rate variability, HRV. HRV is the gold standard for measuring vagal tone. When you breathe at this resonance frequency, your heart rate and your breathing pattern synchronize perfectly. This is called the baroflex resonance point. At this specific frequency, gas exchange is most efficient and the vagus nerve signal is amplified significantly. Think about the structure of a ritual. You inhale deeply, visualizing the light, and you exhale slowly while vibrating a name. If that vibration lasts 10 seconds and your inhale lasts 5 to 10 seconds, you are naturally falling into that 0.1 Hz bracket. The research shows that maintaining this rhythm for just 20 minutes a day over 4 weeks significantly increases HRV indices like SDNN and PNN50. In plain English, it physically upgrades your nervous system's ability to handle stress and conduct energy. This explains why the neophyte is told to practice the rituals daily. It is to condition the nervous system. You are training your biology to enter a parasympathetic dominant state on command. You are building a physiological temple where the noise of the world, the amygdala's screaming, cannot enter. So how do we apply this science to your practice? When you perform the vibratory formula, do not be shy. You must be loud enough to create physical vibration. 1. Inhale deeply, filling the diaphragm, not just the chest. 2. As you vibrate the name, pitch your voice lower than your normal speaking register. You are looking for that buzz in the center of your chest and behind your ears. 3. Extend the vibration. Aim for that 10-second mark to hit the resonance frequency of the breath. Feel the sound deactivating the limbic system. Visualize the amygdala dimming. You are using the word to master the flesh. This is the true meaning of the word being made flesh. We often view magic and science as opposing forces, but when we look at the mechanics of the Golden Dawn, we see a highly refined protocol for nervous system regulation. The god names act as sonic keys, and the ritual is the code that runs the program. The guardian of the threshold is formidable, but it is part of you. It is your biology trying to keep you safe. You don't defeat it with a sword. You defeat it with your breath and with your voice. By combining the ancient vibratory formula with the understanding of modern neuroscience, we finally possess the key to the biological lock. We can manually power down the amygdala, step past the guardian, and enter the temple of higher consciousness, not just as mystics, but as masters of our own physiology. If you want to dive deeper into the mechanics of ritual, check out the playlist on the screen now. I'll see you in the next one.